International Crime Tribunal has given a verdict against Sheikh Hasina, and she has been given a death sentence. And to understand the consequences and what next in this case is with us is Mr. Pinak Chakravarty, and he has served in Bangladesh twice, once at the capacity of High Commissioner during 2006 to 9. So can we just in my first question, I just want to understand what is the meaning of this verdict, sir, and what next for Sheikh Hasina now?
Well, I think the verdict is part of the political vendetta that has been organized and has been going on against Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League. So it is a continuation of that process. As you know, the judiciary has been weaponized there with former judges, and many judges have been removed, and the interim government has put in their own people there. So nobody is surprised by this verdict. And I think it means that now the Awami League has to decide whether they will carry on the struggle or they keep quiet, which I doubt very much. I think the struggle will go on, and the verdict will not be accepted by the Awami League.
But sir, what is her future now? Like, does it have any bearing on her? Because she is living in India, I believe, in exile, and this entire trial happened in absentia. So, any legal bearing on us, on India, also to hand her over?
No, not yet. I mean, there has to be a formal, the Bangladesh government, which is interim government, and many regard it as unconstitutional. So whether they will now will file, extradition, request with the Indian government, because there is a provision, bilateral extradition treaty is there. However, there is a very, very major exception in the treaty, which is regarding political crimes or political kind of charges that are brought. And everybody knows that these are political charges that have been brought. And the verdict is also kind of part of the vendetta politics.
So will it be a dicey situation for India, because we are also dealing with the current government there, and Sheikh Hasina is also is living here. So do you think this new verdict is going to add some issues vis-a-vis her stay here?
Well, I think the current government in Dhaka will now say, look, she has been convicted. Now you hand her over. But these are handing her over on extradition is a legal process. So they will have to go through the legality, which means going to court in India and filing extradition charges, getting an order from a court. If an Indian court orders it, then of course the government of India will comply. But I don't think that has happened yet. So we'll have to wait and see what they do. And of course, the fact that she's been in India is not new. She's been in India since last August when she was overthrown. And they were demanding even at that time, please hand her over. And we said, no, you go through the extradition process. I mean, she was not a convicted criminal when she came here. It was they who drove her out, and they brought her here. We did not do anything to invite her here to come and take, refuge. She decided, and we agreed.
So, sir, as you said in your opening remarks that she is going to struggle, what is your hunch like? What is your assessment? Do you think she's going to fight it out with the current government there? Because they are banned. Obviously, the next election they cannot contest because there's a ban on Awami League. So, what next for the political future of the country?
Well, I think if they want elections which they want to be regarded as free, fair, and inclusive, then they will have to allow the Awami League to participate. You cannot have a free and fair election and inclusive election in Bangladesh by banning the largest party, the Awami League. Now, you may give Hasina the death sentence, but the party remains. They have even deregistered the party, or I think they have suspended its registration as a political party. But if they do that, then the elections are a foregone conclusion. Then there is nothing free and fair and inclusive about it. But then does it lead to another situation where we have a lot of violence after this verdict and the elections are postponed, for example? That could happen also.
Sir, Sheikh Hasina has also rejected all the allegations, all the this verdict of, and she has also called it a political vendetta. Sir, but when we call it a political, what are you questioning the style of probe, or are you questioning the decision making, or do you think that the proper course was not adopted during this process?
Well, I think it was all fixed because as you know, the judiciary itself was overhauled, and all the Supreme Court judges were, in fact, asked to resign at gunpoint almost. So I think those things have happened; they are on record now. So I think the judiciary was a new judiciary was created under the same old ICT, but the judges were changed, everybody was changed, and then this whole trial took place. How free and fair the trial was, everybody's asking the same question. After all, who defended her, and what were the charges? There were about five major charges. She's being accused and convicted of murdering somebody somewhere. She's the prime minister. She didn't go and murder anybody, but they are blaming her for having ordered that, to the police and others. And I think the former police IG, is also one of the those accused, but he's become an approver. So he's spilled all the beans, so to speak. They said they have gone through the records like telephone conversations where they claim that Hasina ordered the firings, etc. Now, I don't know. I mean, I'm not privy to those telephone conversations, but that's what they claim. And they will have to publish the evidence so that people can see whether it has been free and fair.
So you have seen Bangladesh affairs very, very closely. So, sir, how do you look at the popularity of Sheikh Hasina there now? Since we have seen very violent protests against her, of course, there was also a retaliation, a very violent retaliation from the comment that time. So, do you think it is feasible for her to go back and fight an election or fight a case? Is it actually conducive? And you have seen multiple times regime changes in Bangladesh. So what future do you see, political future do you see for the country?
Well, I think at the moment it's impossible for Hasina to return because then they will be hanged. She will be hanged. She'll be saying, okay, you are convicted, go to jail. And I don't know whether there is any process for appeal. I doubt. I think they have removed the appeal process also. And then, of course, then she'll be hanged if she goes back. That's bound to happen because the same ICT had convicted the Jamaat leaders who were part of the 1971 genocide. So the Jamaat has not forgiven her. And I think they will want her hanged. And that's the whole process. And I think Jamaat is really calling the shots now with Professor Yunus in the position of whatever chief advisor. But he's basically, kowtowing to them. But he himself is also very anti-Hasina, we must remember. And he also fancies that he must play a political role. And he was politically ambitious even in 2007 when he when he floated a party and wanted to fight elections. But then his party just disappeared after some time, but they couldn't win anything. And then after that, he was subjected to, by the Hasina government, a lot of legal cases on money laundering for not paying properly the taxes. So those things, I think, embittered him also against Hasina because he felt that he was being harassed and by these cases. Although these cases have now been removed because as soon as he came to power, he withdrew all the cases because he was in government and he could do that.
So in nutshell, sir, you are saying that the Jamaat and other political forces, they are playing a role behind what we are seeing now. And do you also see a role of a foreign hand, say ISI, or some people also allege that CIA?
There is a foreign hand within quotes. Now you can call it whatever you want, ISI, CIA, etc. there is a very strong belief that Hasina, the agitation conducted against Hasina, was also had a foreign hand in it, or in different ways, and because a decision was taken somewhere that she's not cooperating in with that country, which wanted certain facilities there in Bangladesh, etc. These are all in the media already, and these have been discussed, and so these things are also there, and we have seen the interim government moving very close to Pakistan, and there's a lot of ISI, traveling, Pakistani generals and others traveling to Dhaka. During the bomb blasts in Delhi, for example, I just read somewhere that they have also unearthed a Dhaka connection. Now, that could very much be the LET, which has gone there and started operating from there, or the Jaish or whoever. Because this is what Pakistan would aim for. Because all these years, Hasina had kept a very tight leash on their activities, and now they are thinking that under this government they'll be able to come back and do all this. And Jamaat-e-Islami has always been regarded as a proxy and a fifth column of Pakistan. I mean, everybody knows that. So I think this is what is happening. So we have to keep watching. We have to take countermeasures if something really, something really that happens.
Sheikh Hasina has recently given some interviews to some media houses, in which she has said that Pakistan has still not, apologized for what they have done in the past in this country. But still, this government is working with them. And secondly, she's saying that she is willing to return to Bangladesh for politics in the future. How do you look at this, sir?
Well, to return, she will have to sort of overturn this judgment, for example. How to do that? That's a legal issue. And Pakistan indeed has never apologized formally. I mean, off and on, some people in Pakistan, some leaders have said, we are sorry or whatever. But there has never been any official apology for what they did in 1971. This is on record and etc. And I think the Jamaat-e-Islami, which was also accused of collaboration with Pakistan, has been sort of kind of walking back on that and saying, no, we have changed. We want, we made some mistakes, kind of an oblique way they have, because they were the kind of the tool which was used to commit genocide, apart from the Pakistani soldiers themselves, who did all the killings and the rapes and things like that.
At last, sir, I'm asking you in a nutshell, what I understand from your comments is that nothing changes much for Sheikh Hasina. Her status remains same. This verdict will have not much impact on her in the future.
Well, personally, she can continue to stay here. And if the government decides that after the conviction there is an extradition case, then the case has to be fought in the courts. And then we'll see what kind of a verdict. But let me remind you that the extradition treaty between India and Bangladesh has a clause which says that no extradition will be granted if it is presumed to be political crime or political crimes. Now, this is clearly one that is regarded as a political crime. So I don't see extradition happening. So she will continue to stay here. And I think the Awami League will take the matter, politically and perhaps do whatever they want to do in Bangladesh.
And is the tide turning in Bangladesh, sir? Do you see any change? Because is there a realization that the current government is not doing too good for the country?
Well, if you use the economic measures to ask questions, nobody is happy. Prices have gone up, things are not available. So, and the common people are indeed suffering. There are a lot of, I think, media stories on how they are, complaining about price rise and things like that. And Bangladesh's economy has certainly slipped, although trade is going on, and we have not really interfered in that. And but there have been some steps taken to, kind of a tit for tat, because Bangladesh began it. So India had to take some steps. These are basically non-tariff barriers on export of goods from Bangladesh or export of goods from India. But then that's not too much. But trade is going on. I think normal. They are dependent on India for a lot of essential commodities, and that's going on because I think the government of India basically took the decision that the common people should not be punished for something that is political.
Thank you so much for talking to us, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I will share the links with you, sir, as we post.
Good. You can please edit it.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll edit it.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other part you want to edit other than the beginning?
No, just whatever I'm saying, you can see whether, I said a lot, so you don't have to include everything. But I have no problem. You can edit.
Okay, sir. Sure. Thank you.